Welcome. Hello. How is life? Thoughts on the 16 legal mindset guy, the passport bro Temu lawyer. The 16 legal mindset guy. Oh, I understand. Good one. Let's go over Trump's peace plan for Russia. Watch this E33 video essay.
Claire Obscure expedition.
All your orbiters were trashing you in Kafka Esquire stream behind your back. Are you serious? Do you know the Dinesh research starts? Whenever the fuck I want to start it. Wait, okay, hold on. Can we do a quick... Okay, what looks better? 1 or... Wait. 2. 1. 2. 1. 2. Legal mindset culture for stalking, harassing. Link me. Okay, and then 1 or 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. I'm going with 2. Fuck you guys. I think 1 is too dark. Yeah, fuck it. I have a disagreement that is relevant for the peace plan for Russia, Ukraine. The fuck do you want?
Oh, hi. Sorry, let me mute the stream.
Wait, what the fuck?
What?
Wait, where are
What?
you from?
From Belarus.
Oh, okay, never mind. You sounded not European for a second. Okay.
Oh.
Go ahead.
I guess it's a compliment.
Oh, no, now you're getting more. Okay, go ahead. Foreigner.
What do you think is the main goal Putin has in Ukraine?
What is the main goal that Putin has in Ukraine as of right now at this point in time?
Yeah, or like rank the top 4 or 3.
Man, I don't have I just haven't kept up much, and I don't know much about the internal politics of Russia. If I had to guess, I would say 1 is the most important thing is on a macro level is coming away feeling like they've won the war, to maintain his like leadership legitimacy and all of that. 2 is I'm sure there's some land that they really want. Crimea for Sevastopol is obviously important. I guess maybe the land bridge there, although there's like a bridge there. I'm sure there's some like resources or something in the eastern part of Ukraine that they like. Probably some future guarantee that Ukraine can never join NATO or have any kind of security alliance or agreement with any Western power. And then probably some restriction on how Ukraine is allowed to deal with Russia or something, maybe militarily or whatever. That'd be my some guess like that. Yeah, there's obviously the idea would be like installing like a Russian puppet leader or whatever, but like I don't think that would ever happen. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think those are correct, but in the opposite order. I think they care a lot more about Ukraine being fucked up than about physical land. And I have reasons for that, if you want to hear them out.
Ooh, are you like a, do you know the phrase color revolution?
Yeah, I know. It's like very popular phrase that Russia uses.
Okay.
A lot.
I don't actually know what that means. I shouldn't even say that. Wait, there's this concept of like...
It basically means just any revolution that happens post like 1990 that Russia doesn't like. That's literally how it's used.
Okay, let's go. Okay, sure. I don't know why I shouldn't have even used that term. I've heard it said, but I don't know how true this is. I've heard it said that one old threat to the Soviet Union, and even somewhat of a threat to modern Russia, is the concept of a bordering nation getting more favorable to the West. So like Ukraine and making a deal with the European Union just to be able to trade, having a more favorable relationship with the West, and then starting to thrive off of that favorable relationship is something that Russia really wants to avoid, because the message should be that like,
exactly.
yeah, okay.
And especially because Russia and Ukraine are very similar culturally.
Okay.
Having like a democratic, thriving Ukraine would be really bad for like Putin internally. We have like a shining example of what Eastern Europeans, like post-USSR Slavs, can achieve in this region on their own if they go more democratic Western way.
Mm-hmm.
So have some proofs that this is like the most important things for him. So if you look at, for example, the Minsk Accords, the second Minsk Agreement,
Mm-hmm.
I can send you a wiki page. So points 11 and 12 are basically that Ukraine has to... So the Minsk Accords basically were the idea that Ukraine reintegrates those rebel regions, Donetsk and Luhansk, as like a federal states. So the Minsk Accord 2 included the point that Ukraine has to change the constitution and allow those regions to have veto power for all national and international agreements Ukraine makes.
Jesus.
And also to have,
okay.
And also to have independent militias inside and allow Russian media.
Okay. I was aware that I think they wanted them to remain... Russia does this meme where it's like, oh, you have to be like a semi-autonomous region or whatever, which...
Yeah, exactly.
But they were going to
that
have
was
veto
what
power
Russia-
over what the country proper voted for. I wasn't aware of that. Okay.
It's not... I don't think it's explicitly stated that it's veto power, but it's basically that like all national laws have to be confirmed by those regions.
Okay.
And like there's I couldn't find the source for that, but I saw it in one video that like when they were negotiating the agreements and the journalist asked the Russian diplomats like how is it going, and he just gave 2 thumbs up because it was really good for them.
Okay.
Like they wanted those things. They didn't care about those regions being reintegrated back into Ukraine
Mm-hmm.
as long as they could have that sort of influence on on Ukrainian politics.
Okay.
And then you saw the same thing when Russia invaded in 22. It's like they didn't go for land capture; they went straight for the capital
Mm-hmm.
to install their leader.
Okay.
And then the same in this peace plan. They have a lot of things, like they don't really push any territory, so they basically say the territory as is frozen, but they demand no NATO expansion.
I heard
free,
that.
like
That can't be real. Is it really that? I've only read headlines of this, so I haven't
Yeah.
even gone over the plan yet, so I can't argue with it. But like,
I can send you the link to the
Was
plan
it-
on Axios.
is part of the agreement really no NATO expansion, or is there just no NATO membership for Ukraine?
So, what Axios says is that no NATO expansion.
Okay. What an unbelievable cock.
It's point. Which one is it? 3. It is expected that Russia will not invade neighboring countries and NATO will not expand further.
Okay.
And also, you can see some other points like recognition of Russian as a co-equal language. So the same thing we have in Belarus, that like Belarusian and Russian are on equal level.
Mm-hmm.
No like bans of Russian media, Russian church, all of that. Yeah. And my prediction is that any peace plan that Russia proposes will include those sort of things that will try to keep Ukraine, even if democratic, then like not in NATO. So if something fucks up, if something goes not the way Kremlin likes, they will just invade again.
Okay.
And they will be willing to do that a lot more than like ask for territory. So if like, and this is like really fucked up for Trump because he's retarded, and he will see like, oh, Russia agrees to cede some territory, but he will not care about those sort of things that will be terrible for Ukrainian sovereignty in the long term.
Mm-hmm.
Like Putin might propose basically Minsk 2 again. Like you reintegrate those regions, but they get veto rights and we get our media there. And Trump might like take him up on that.
Jesus.
Yeah, and as is, so I
The
think
U.S. Wait, real quick. The
because
U.S. will
land-
save compensation for the guarantee. What is this compensation? Like $5 million or like $500 billion? What does that mean? What is the compensation?
Yeah,
How
I don't
much?
know. I think it's from like the frozen assets that Russia had in foreign banks.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think this whole plan is basically just Putin's demands that were handed off to Witkov.
Oh, gotcha. So this is the Russian maximalist position, basically.
I think so. Anyways, and as is, I think because land is like so low on the list,
Mm-hmm.
I think Putin really wants to keep the war as long as it as possible, because the longer it goes on, the more fucked up situation Ukraine becomes, like internally, like
Mhm.
just politics-wise, just a pressure cooker. And the more people like Trump, like right-wing populists in Europe, in US, can like use Ukraine as sort of a tool to get to power. In terms of like a talking point, like why are we sending money there? Let's spend money inside, and then not spend money inside. Why are you spending money on Ukraine? Let's spend money on our military, and so on. I have some more notes. I can send you an email.
Okay, well,
And yeah, I just basically recommend you watch Vlad Lexler. He does a lot of videos on Ukraine, Russia.
yeah.
He's like a very, I would say, unique point of view that you don't really view much
Mm-hmm.
on your streams. Just something to consider.
Okay. Well,
I also have some notes on yesterday's debate, but they're not as interesting.
Sure, what about it?
Basically, I don't think you should have used Nuremberg as an example because it immediately turns off people's brains. It's like they think that you think that Republicans are doing the Holocaust.
Sure.
And also after Nuremberg, a lot of people.
I think that's a fairish point, but like, one thing that's like, I just don't know how to. Do you live in Belarus? Are you able to say that?
And no, I moved out like 3 years ago
Okay.
after the protests and stuff.
I just really don't like how normalized Jesus, how everything Trump can say or do. Like the tweet about the execution thing, that's just crazy. But he's like a child. The Sam Harris quote yesterday was really like on point of like, Trump has set the standard for just being a retarded, petulant child, so he can basically act that way all the time. And that's just so insane to me. Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, so basically, I think Nuremberg is a bad example because of that, and also because didn't go super well in like for what you want. So I have this quote from Wikipedia that 78% of Germans initially assessed the trial as fair, but 4 years later that has fallen to 38%. Like the information was out there, but they just didn't want to believe it.
What is the
well,
what happened with Germany such that it didn't fall back into Nazism?
It was under military occupation from like 4 countries.
For
They
how
just
long?
literally
Now?
had for like 10 years or so, I think, until they established their own government in the West and the East.
Do you have
and then the
opinions
same thing
on
happened-
U.S.? I don't know why you would know this, but like, do you know anything about like U.S. like reconstruction or after like the?
So that's the second thing I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
That, like basically the same thing happened after the Civil War in the U.S. That like federal troops were stationed in the South. They forced slavery to be abolished. They forced all the Confederates out. And I think Wick brought it up yesterday a few times. That like they were not that harsh. They were like Lincoln was like super harsh on that. But then when Lincoln got killed, his vice president was a cuckold who was pro-Confederate and basically tried to roll all of that back. And then they had a fight with Congress about it, and it basically petered out after that.
I've heard
like a
different people
meme
say that
stat.
like Reconstruction was like a failure because of reconciliation.
Well-
There was too much. Like I know they forgave like that whole 14th Amendment thing. I think Congress passed a thing basically forgiving insurrection, so they wanted to run for government again and all that.
Yeah, but Congress also passed the 14th Amendment, right? So
Yeah, but then later on they did that forgiving provision,
Yeah.
which might not be bad, but I don't know. I've heard different takes on whether or not they were too forgiving or not forgiving, or no. The current take I've heard, but I haven't researched this at all, was just that like they were too forgiving, and it allowed the South
that
to like
was much later. Initially, they was super harsh on it.
Okay, sure.
But you should look into it. It's a interesting topic. It's like crazy fucked up time. Like you had military governors installed by the president. You had a new department of U.S. government handing out aid to freed black people. It's kind of a crazy time.
I think that it's insane to me that that people still fly Confederate flags. That's crazy to me in the United States. That's seen as some kind of like.
That's like basically a rebellion against the United States.
Not basically, it is a rebellion. It actually is it literally, definitionally, is a whole war fought over it. Yeah, that's crazy to me. Yeah.
Oh, and also Prime chirped in a few times. It was like, oh, you want to do debathification? I think that's like the only example I found of like kicking people out from the previous government that didn't go super well. Well, not super well, but just went terribly.
Sure. I also don't
And I
like I don't like that comparison for the two reasons I brought up. That one, I'm pretty sure, I haven't read on this in a long time, but I'm pretty sure it was a single party government, right? The Ba'ath Party was the...
Yes.
Yeah, so one, if you were in government, you had to be there, number one, and then two, it was a dictatorship. I think there's an interesting, I wouldn't call this paradoxical, but like a nation's people, I think, are more responsible for their democratic government's actions than a authoritarian country's people. And I'd say that's doubly true for elected or for politicians, right? Like Saddam Hussein, like you either do what he wants in his party or you're either not in the government or you get killed. Whereas in the United States, you have a choice on which party you can run for. You have a choice to support the government or not, yeah?
So if you look at like what happened in communist countries, they also did what they call lustrations. So they didn't kick out everyone who was in the Communist Party, but they did kick out everyone who was like a high up government official, who was in the Secret Service, who was an informant, and then they like prosecuted them or something, depending on the country and the person. But all of that, I don't think it's possible in the United States, sadly, because like all of those things happened when there was like a real revolution in government or like an occupying military, and you're not going to have that. Even in the best case scenario.
I think my position yesterday, it was a little memey, but I think I kind of discovered it in real time, and that I think there is like an actual. This would be it would be politically very difficult, but functionally it would be so easy, and it would be the. Are you aware pretty intricately of like the construction of the 14th Amendment, the Section 3 part?
Yeah.
Like
I argue with people online.
Congress could theoretically call a session. Now, the Supreme Court, because they love Trump, gave a ruling that said, well, actually, that's only enforceable by the Congress. Fine. Congress could create a commission and then pass a law recognizing Trump as an insurrectionist, as well as his supporters. And then everybody involved in such could be adjudicated either by a commission in Congress or by the states if they allow it via bill. And then all that would do, the nice thing about Section 3 of the 14th Amendment is that the only thing it would do is it would just prohibit you from occupying a future office. It doesn't require a criminal conviction, so pardons don't apply.
I think that's a very reasonable position. So just have Congress pass a law that basically implements the 14th Amendment, the Section 3. Just like line out what insurrection is, how do you define it, and then the courts and states can figure it out.
Yeah, I think so. I think that'd be good, yeah.
But then to do that, you need like a... what's it called? Like 60 people plus.
Yeah, we need a majority or
filibuster-proof majority.
Oh, sure, yeah.
In both houses.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
All right, well.
Bye.
I love you. Be careful. Oh no. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's going to be one big bite. He's about to one-shot this steak. I don't know what's going to happen. Hold on. Oh no. Wait.
Beast, happy birthday, buddy.
Oh, never mind. Oh, it's for him. Okay.
This is your birthday. This is your birthday steak.
It's worse?
Cut one for me first. 2. These are good knives. Ready? I'm gonna give you a big one.
Oh.
Yeah, is that good? Yeah, that good?
Okay, the sharing the fork is one thing, but that's way too big of a bite. Hey, I don't know if this is true, so I'm going wrong. Apparently the most common food that people die eating at their homes is steak. It's the most common thing that you like eat and choke or whatever. Wait. Is my mic quiet? Hold on. No, it's not. Okay.
Happy birthday to us.
Oh,
Not your birthday,
a
Rob.
big one. A second one.
It's not.
Sorry, second one.
All right. Bite number 2, tomahawk steak.
Wait, you missed it? Wait, what did I miss?
Birthday to us.
I mean, they're already sharing a fork. I mean,
This knife is great. All right. Bite number 2, tomahawk steak. Oh, shit.
Oh, well, there you go.
Let's try this. Let's get a little béarnaise.
Do the dogs care about the sauce?
Ready? That's some good shit, isn't it? Yeah, that's some good shit. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Was designed and
Wait, I have to do a couple messages. XQC choking. Good luck.
created by an architect named Randall Stoff. Asumi is a modern day.
Steak Felix. Make sure to remove this part of the dono. If I mean when you
Welcome to
spend
sunny
this
South
time
Florida.
on the book,
I'm
then I
John
get
Paletta with
$10
One
back.
Sotheby's International
In
Realty.
broke after
This
this
home is
dono.
3 years in the making
XQC
and
help.
was designed and created by an architect named Randall Stoff. Asumi
Hello,
is a
Felix.
modern day
This is
masterpiece
Steve with the Copium
located at
Delivery
7170
Company. I just wanted to
Ayrshire
confirm
Lane
the
in
3,000
St. Andrews Country
liters
Club,
of
Boca
copium
Raton,
you are
Florida.
having
The home is a
delivered
living
to
square
this
footage of
weekend's
approximately
Gap Street.
7,500 square feet.
Please
It's 4
confirm.
bedrooms.
Thanks.
It has 2 separate offices, and upstairs it has a complete separate sitting area that entails soaring ceilings. It's just the architectural elements. It's just so futuristic. The Sumi is offered through One Sotheby's International Realty at $12,950,000.
Broke
Holy
people
fuck.
donating the little money they have to.
Holy shit.
Are you going to watch Zoran meet with Trump today?
Okay.
Mamdani? Is that happening?
Dude, I had a giant piece of steak, this dry ass piece of fucking steak, like on the right side, like all the way down. And every time I breathed, it was like tipping in. And I couldn't breathe properly.
So just what is maximalistic South Florida architecture?
Dude. I ran out of the room, dude, and my whole thing was like flashing, and I started going down the stairs. I started getting dude. I started getting these like racing thoughts of like, dude, what is that? This is actually it. Like, what happens? I started thinking, dude. It was so weird. I started thinking, what's gonna happen after death, dude? I was like, dude, I'm already dead. That's so weird.
To minimalistic architecture. This is all about the idea of creating expression. This is the forefront of design. It's about
Jesus.
the curves, it's about the circles, it's about the cube areas of the house.
Crazy XQC clip.
That album is part of Discovery.
Just called for Democratic members of Congress to be executed. This is not normal. We cannot allow.
Okay. That was about. Don't like politics, brother. Come on, bro. We're in the middle of a rant, man.
Wait, did I miss something?
That album is part of Discovery.
Just called for Democratic members of Congress to be executed. This is not normal. We cannot allow.
Okay.
Good.
That was about.
Oh, XQC turns into an invertebrate. Oh, I thought he was going to do the worm or something. You just mean because he's spineless. I get it. Okay. Good one.
Blow Sharp China with
Watch this Bing Chilling.
Hassan Piker traveling through China right now. A lot of our listeners have probably seen viral clips
Who?
of leftist influencer
Who's streaming?
Hassan Piker
Sharp
traveling
China?
around China recently. We mentioned his trip briefly last week when he was stopped for questioning at Tiananmen Square, had his phone searched by police. He's been raving about China to millions of followers on Twitch. He was given an original print of Mao's Little Red Book. He went to a Huawei store and said it felt like a caveman discovering fire. He also denied that LGBT people face any state-supported discrimination in China.
He's a douchebag.
Blaming Apple, not China, for banning LGBT apps. What's your reaction generally? Aside from Hassan Piker specifically, what's your reaction to the trend of Western influencers who visit China and come away posting videos about how amazing it is, how amazing the trains are, etc.?
The Chinese propaganda apparatus has a policy, has a program to bring over useful idiots like Hassan Piker and have them run through China and say how great it is, and then broadcast to their millions, tens of millions of followers globally primarily on U.S. social media platforms.
Yeah.
And he is just one in a long line of useful tools, useful idiots.
I really want to know whether he's been paid in some way, whether the trip itself is
Well,
paid
I think
for.
a lot of it is they use these cutouts, these companies that manage influencers. And so the companies will arrange these tours. And, again, there's a lot of opacity about, are the companies picking up the costs? Are they also paying him? I mean, again, this is... But the idea that this is somehow organic or it's just some random influencer with millions of followers is going to show up in China and broadcast around for a while, live stream and everything, it's all like no one's paying attention or it's not part of more of a concerted effort. I mean, please, I have a bridge in Beijing. I'd love to sell you. You know my email. Send it in. I'll give you a good price.
Well, look, I mean, Hassan Piker comes off like a pretty gullible moron in some of these videos, so maybe he would be the buyer for your bridge in Beijing. None of this is all that surprising.
But it works. But the reality is, I mean, again, the thing is this works because, and you see it in poll after poll, how especially among the younger folks, attitudes toward Chinese are shifting in a more positive way. You have other sort of propaganda adjacent folks talking about the vibe shift and how China, like the vibe shift is happening. It works, and the Chinese propaganda apparatus has been very effective at doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Fuck. I still have messages I need to do. Hold on. What's going on here? Quick, because I'm about to leave. What do you need?
Hey, I was just wondering if there's anything else you need me to do to Lauren. I know you sent me downtown.
Why would you even joke about it? I haven't done any of this. I don't even joke about this on stream. Why would you say this?
I'm joking.
Yeah, but now this is gonna way to go. Jones got 20 more filings.
Yeah. So am I supposed to how am I supposed to see this person's on the street and they're like a promoter? I'm not trying to involve myself with her. She's just kind of there.
It's your life, your shit. I haven't given you any I confirm that I have never given you guidance on anything related to do with Lauren.
I think you haven't, but why? Dude, she sent me a bunch of messages afterwards that were Steven sent you to do this, blah 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 blah. How am I supposed to
I don't know. Live your life. You're a big boy, aren't you? You're an adult. Figure out what you want to do. But send me those messages. I'm curious what you said. But okay, good luck. Be careful.
All right, bye.
Okay.
Oh, look who it is.
Oh, ho, ho. Wait a minute. Whoa.
Thought you could see
himself.
Thought you could be talking shit on me and I wouldn't see you.
The funniest thing I could do right now is be like, all right, I gotta go. Doop.
Oh man. It's possible. You could run.
Nah, I'm okay. What's up?
Hi. Oh no, I just heard you guys were chatting, so I'm here.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So actually, Stephen, why don't we summarize it for you a little bit? We had a debate about tit for tat, and I think what Reason kind of articulated was that within the tit for tat framework, it's not eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. You use legal, defensive tit for tat and proportional tit for tat, and then not just that, but also you cooperate. Not reciprocate. You cooperate with the other side 5% of the time, 10% of the time.
Wait, let me clarify, because I feel like that's really super muddy. But you just mentioned it needs to be proportional reciprocity. So if they don't cooperate, you don't cooperate back, and it's not a little slap on the wrist if they've going to give you a stab in the back. It's a very intelligent equivalent to a stab in the back. And you're giving, for example, how the judicial system is reciprocal, right? So if someone commits murder, they may even face capital punishment. But not in the same ruthless way, but in a more humane way, frankly. And so that's an example of tit for tat in action. And you agreed that actually is quite a good thing, right?
Yeah, I just didn't like Stephen's schizo, let's convict all MAGA Republicans of insurrection, even if they didn't participate in January 6, 2021. I thought that was fucking crazy.
But are you opposed to it because it wouldn't be within the bounds of the law, or because it's not, you just don't agree with it? Because what if you could just pass a law that made it so that would be included in the 14th Amendment?
So as a specific example, Marco Rubio, to my knowledge, did not participate in January 6, 2021. Convicting him of aiding and abetting an insurrectionist in what I feel is a violation of the spirit of the law, I think that's fucking cringe and stupid and gay.
What if you changed it? What if you had enough to get a constitutional amendment on that, or just made a new law that did it?
Yeah, but that's...
And you pack the court so they would agree with you.
I'm talking about the underlying evidence. If a person doesn't... I don't care what laws you pass. If a person doesn't participate in a crime, they shouldn't be convicted of it.
If the crime was, that is a crime. The participating in the Trump administration is a crime. What if that was the law that you passed?
That's cringe and gay.
But let's bring Destiny.
Are you gonna fight us, or are you just hanging out? Because if you're just hanging out, I got shit to do.
Oh wow,
No, but
cloud targeting much? Here, this is my position. Okay, then it was a little confusing because we got into the law shit. But the 14th Amendment provides for a prior oath taker that if they had engaged in insurrection or given aid to somebody who had engaged in insurrection, that prior oath taker could not hold future office. I think that when the next elective body comes in, I think that they should pass a congressional statute acknowledging that, because the Supreme Court ruled that Section 3 of the 14th Amendment just doesn't apply anymore unless Congress does something because they wanted to save Trump on that. So they should apply a law that says, hey, we think that this was an insurrectionist administration. And then from there, they can decide whether or not they want to convene a congressional commission to find out who had engaged in insurrection, or they could leave it up to the states to adjudicate it in whatever way they feel necessary. This wouldn't be a criminal proceeding. It would just be like an adjudicated finding that would prohibit you from holding future office. You wouldn't be convicted of a crime or sent to jail. You would just be prevented from holding another office. Yeah.
Yeah, but last night you were expanding that definition to even people who had just participated. Number one, admin officials who had participated in the second Trump administration. Number two, any Republican representative who was MAGA in general. So I guess my question is, would you be? Let's entertain it a little bit more than we were last night. Let's say that this was passable. Would you be okay with them limiting the scope to, number one, Trump? Number two, any of his admin who had actually committed crimes that furthered, insurrection. Number three, people who like Josh Hawley, who participated in January 6th.
I think I would broaden it as wide as possible, because this is what I want. This is what I would want to happen. This is what I would want to happen. Okay, and when Biden had a really bad debate against Donald Trump, there was pressure from all sides of the party who felt like they were all going to get fucked if Biden was allowed to continue running. So ex-party members came out. Obama was pressuring behind the scenes. Current party members, Pelosi and everybody were pressuring him behind the scenes, leaking stuff to the media. There was a lot of pressure because the whole Democratic Party felt like they were going to get fucked if Biden continued in that race. That pressure does not exist on the Republican side. It should be the case that every single member of a political party feels bought into making sure that their party is not trying to destroy the fucking country. And I think everybody should feel, ideally, this comes from a place of honor and integrity. But absent that, it comes from a place of accountability, knowing that if your party's engaged in some shit like this and you know it, and you basically just keep your mouth shut or you openly support them, then I think that there should be accountability. And that accountability being you just can't run for future office, I don't even think that's that big of a penalty.
I mean, actually, Destiny, you could package that in with like the rhetoric of the Republicans. They're the anti-constitution party, right? The 14th Amendment, first, second, third. You can go through most of the amendments and find the ways in which the MAGA are completely against the American Constitution. So they're trying to destroy the Constitution. They're trying to destroy America, and then you can use the 14th Amendment against them when in power because you are the party of the Constitution.
Sure,
so
but if you're
really
trying to do but if you're trying to do things that are by the book, legal, without necessarily blowing everything up, like anti-constitution thing that might just be too broad of a thing. Like, I think there should be a committee or a commission just specifically focused on the Trump administration, and then they can set out their guidelines or whatever.
Sure, but I mean rhetorically, in terms of like how you package the Democrat policies before the next election, and how you try and frame what the Republicans are. You're pro-constitution, they're anti-constitution. And that's also part of it when it comes to how you implement that with regards to the 14th Amendment.
Maybe. I would just say the party of lawlessness. I understand the Constitution thing, but nobody understands the difference between like Constitution and law in the United States. And conservatives have fucked shit up because when a conservative says, this was especially true in the January 6th thing, but it's true even now, when a conservative says constitutional, that's a dog whistle for break the law. So when a conservative says like, well, constitutionally we have this power, what they mean is we're going to ignore the Supreme Court, or we're going to ignore the judiciary, or not the judiciary, the legislature, because we have the power to do this from the Constitution. So constitutional has become a dog whistle for lawlessness. So I'd rather just say lawlessness. I understand your point though, but in America we have a hard time understanding how our government works.
Because I'm probably going to have to go in a minute, and I know that's going to disappoint people who want the fireworks to fly. But we could do this later. Unless the schedule's changed, I think we're hanging out next Saturday. Yeah. So my frustration that I think that Reason and I discussed in this conversation was when you were saying tit for tat. I imagined eye for an eye. I don't think you made the clarifications or caveats that Reason Riffs made.
It could be eye for an eye. I'm okay with eye for an eye. That's okay for me. I'm fine with that.
Okay, well then hold on. That's exactly what Reason. You see what the fuck I'm talking about?
No. But actually, Connor, he's saying exactly what you said. You said also sometimes eye for an eye might be tit for tat.
Then let's.
And he's just said sometimes, right? So he's the same. You both
that. Okay. So Stephen, as an example, you might not buy into the left or right binary, so entertain the hypothetical.
I can do that. Yeah.
Let's just assume a lefty assassinated Charlie Kirk. By eye for an eye logic, shouldn't a right winger assassinate a left wing media pundit if we're going with eye for an eye moral logic?
Well, I feel like we have a criminal system there to do the punishment, right? Like the guy who assassinated Charlie Kirk should probably be convicted and sentenced to whatever the capital punishment would be, right? Or life in prison.
Okay, but Charlie's dead. So
yeah, but then that guy's dead, right?
Eye for an eye. That's not the same thing for the same thing.
I don't know if I would say that, like, so if you guys talked a lot about tit for tat, it sounds like you also went over, like, technically the best system is called, I think it's like a slightly forgiving tit for tat.
Generous.
Generous tit for tat.
Like, I would say that, like, if somebody, it doesn't matter. Okay, it's not relevant. But, like, if something like that happens, then, I mean, like, you'd let it slide once or twice. But at some point, yeah, you would have to start knocking off people on the other side. Because you can't sit there and all of your political figures are just fucking dying. And you're like, well, we got to adhere to norms. At some point, you'd be like, okay, well, fuck it. I guess we're doing this.
Okay. But Steven's not as retarded as I want him to be.
In a video game, right?
Not as what?
You're not as okay. Last night you were kind of spurging out a little bit, and I thought your position was way too extreme. However, effectively all you did was you re-articulated Reason Riff's perspective that we did over the past hour, which is effectively like, how do I say this? I said so. Reason asked, "What's an alternative to tit for tat?" And I said that it's not necessarily an effective way, but turning the other cheek in the Christian moral sense is an alternative. And he's like, okay, well, what happens if they ignore you turning the other cheek, where they're not shocked by their moral consciousness? Like, so for instance, January 6, 2021, and Trump not getting impeached. If they're not shocked by their moral consciousness, then what do you do at that point? And then we kind of arrived at generous tit for tat with the caveats that he articulated that you just re-articulated. However, sometimes when you're schizo and you're spurging out, it sounds like you just want revenge. It doesn't sound like you want generous tit for tat. You just want revenge.
Yeah, but the issue is we've been doing turn the other cheek for 2 or 3 decades. And then now when somebody's saying like, okay, well, time for some punishment.
You're not going to agree to that, and they're going to bring up a bunch of shit.
But
just because they don't agree.
Wait. Factually, there's a correct answer, though. There is a truthful statement there. You can't just say, when you do this thing of like, well, they're not going to agree about, okay, well, then fine. Let's just kill everybody. Let's all blow each other up. Because you're writing off every possible...
Don't jump so far ahead.
Okay.
Don't jump so far ahead.
Sure.
So as an example, let's say we bring up January 6, 2021.
Okay.
And we say, hey, you guys threatened the existential core of the Republic through a riot. And then you already know what they bring up, right? What do they bring up?
Yeah, BLM.
Uh-huh. So the summer of love, billions of dollars in damage. January 6, 2021 was peaceful by comparison. He wasn't trying to overthrow the Republic, blah, 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 blah. So in their mind, even if though they're stupid or delusional, they believe that they're engaging in tit for tat.
Sure, but then I would just ask them, who was the leader of BLM? Because Donald Trump led Jan 6.
$3 million
Yeah, no, so there was no, BLM was a collection of riots across the country that happened during fucking COVID, and most of the Democratic leadership had to call that out. Biden and Kamala had to say no more riots, no more violence when they were running in their election. Trump has not done that.
What's the next talking? Well, actually, maybe I shouldn't just be a smartass.
Next talking point is the Minnesota Bail Fund?
No, it's the bail fund, and then
the bail fund was a single tweet by Kamala, which had literally it's a bail fund. Go ahead.
The fiery but mostly peaceful protest. That's the one
that's a CNN reporter.
Yeah,
those aren't the same thing as the president of the United States, right?
I'm not saying these are equivalent. I'm saying that these people, number one, they have 80 IQ. Number two,
you can't if you're resting on those arguments, then the only answer is blowing shit up. If the argument is going to be we can't agree on factual realities with each other, then you just have to start knocking people off until you have enough people to have a consensus on reality. That's it. Your position is the maximalist, like loser, like we all give up and just start killing each other position. It can't be that we can't agree on simple basic facts.
No, Reason actually has a solution that I think is better considered than what the fuck you just said, because you just said, oh, fuck it, let's go to civil war then, okay? What Reason said is, as an example, there can be a legal proportional response to bad behavior. Fuck. Am I still here? Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah,
did he disappear? Did he disconnect? I'm sorry. We hear you.
No, I dropped something and it knocked my screen off temporarily. So what Reason was saying, and by the way, this goes up with the gerrymandering thing, by the way, where effectively like right-wing states were arguing in order to gerrymander their own states, and then effectively Prop 50 came up. Prop 50 arguably is morally fucked up. Disenfranchising people via gerrymandering is fucked up, but it's proportional and it's legal and it sends across the right message. So you don't have to throw up your hands and say, okay, fuck it, civil war. You can come up with creative political solutions that actually punish the opposition that are still legal and defensive.
Yeah, but isn't my creative 14th Amendment solution of barring them from holding future office, isn't that actually preferable to like what actual eye for an eye, tit for tat would be? Like imagine if I were to say, I think the
response to that would be they go to the gun.
Okay, then let's say that I say, okay, well then that shouldn't happen. It should just be that our next politician also says that we should start hanging Republican congressmen in the same way that Trump does.
Wait. I'm piling up a few issues here. I mean, because you kind of spoke on my behalf there a bit, kind of, and most of it you're right about. But I also have to delineate between. Wait, don't start. I also have to delineate between the rhetoric and the action, right? What Democrats should be saying, and this is, I'm just looking at the studies here. This isn't just my hunch. That they should be very, very careful about getting the Republicans into a position where they can self-victimize and be the real snowflakes and melt under the sun, right? You have to be very cautious about sounding vengeful in your rhetoric, but your action should be pretty harsh. And so, like, and as harsh as their action has been, right? And actually, what Destiny's point here about going after them legally using the 14th Amendment, I think it sounds brilliant.
True,
I think it's proportional and it's justice. It's justice being served, and it can be framed that way as well. So it can be framed in a very neutral and fair way. The other point I want to make is we've got to stop feeling responsible for what these nutcases are doing with facts and then distort them into some kind of cruel fiction of a nasty fairy tale. What they're doing is using Soviet methods of misinformation. And what are the ingredients of misinformation? They always find a little seed of truth. So there could have been a protest with that penis protest. They could say that Destiny had on stream yesterday, and this woman being carted away. They could have, the MAGA heads could have just said, there's 1,000 people behind her. They will start with one seed of truth that there was this woman protesting, and then they'll make some crazy story out of it. And they're always going to do that. They're just being Soviet about it. We're not responsible for that. So yeah, they're always going to do it, whatever you do. So you don't act based upon how they think they're going to frame it, because they're always going to frame it that way.
Okay, but what I heard, which reinforces my criticism, is be soft in your rhetoric, be harsh in your penalties. Stephen is harsh in his rhetoric and impractical in his penalties. So
but he's not a politician. He's a political pundit.
Yeah, well, he's supposed to be one of the best debaters and best political thinkers in online politics. So raise the bar.
So it's not raising the bar, but I have a different role. If I was a politician, my messaging is going to sound a lot different on things. I'm going to be a lot less combative with. Depending on
that's why I said I was taking you seriously, but not literally, because I don't think your solutions are pragmatic. But I'm assuming that the emotion behind what you're saying is real and genuine.
Well, you can take me seriously, but not literally. You can take me literally, but taking me literally doesn't mean that I would say that every politician should copy verbatim, word for word, what I'm saying. That's
sure.
Yeah, I just think.
Also, what part of what he's proposing is unpragmatic, like. It's possible to.
Well, yesterday we were talking about convicting a bunch of people. Yeah, but yesterday it was more than the 14th Amendment. It was more than the 14th Amendment.
You think barring 25% of representatives in the American Republic via 14th Amendment, January 6th Commission style legal proceeding is practical?
Yeah, you can do it. You don't even have to go that far. It's possible to just impeach them. You can just have each body impeach their own and impeach all these people out.
Number one,
they wouldn't be barred forever.
About winning the midterms first. Sure. How about y'all worry about that shit?
Sure,
first?
Yeah, that's not what we're talking right now. But
that's any solution being proposed is like after midterms. That would be
representatives of the United States.
Yes.
How about you motherfuckers just focus on?
Yeah, we're focused on that. I think there's something to be said for, because this is where we're at right now. That's just driving me crazy. There's something to be said for you go to dinner with a friend and his wife shows up and she has like bruises on her face. And it's like, wait, what the fuck? But she's like tried to hide them with makeup. As fucked as that situation sounds, that situation is better than you're at dinner and your friend just fucking smacks his fucking wife in the face right in front of you and then goes on like nothing is happening. Because in one scenario, at least there's shame involved where the husband knows that like there's some fuck shit that he has to keep hidden. Like the Trump crypto scam should have been like an undercover journalist, you know, through investigative journalism uncovers this after years of digging, but it's all just out in the open. And we're just so far beyond anything that when you say, well, it should be reciprocal, like I would argue that even the unhinged shit I've said is not even really getting close to the damage and the behavior that this administration has exhibited.
So just out of curiosity, maybe you can answer this simply, and I do have to go soon. But what is the charge? So for instance, like I know that FARA violations are typically like, you know, charged for like foreign lobbyists who don't register.
What is the charge? Oh no, for the 14th Amendment thing, you don't for the 14th Amendment thing, you don't need a criminal charge. Somebody just has to have been found as having been engaged in insurrection. So, for instance, when
statutory judgment,
I'm asking specifically about the corruption because it's something that I'm interested in. Obviously, I harped on the Hunter Biden thing a billion times. So what would we charge Trump with?
I'm not even thinking of charges for Trump. I would just bring back the J6 thing, and I would bring back the Mar-a-Lago stuff.
Okay.
Is it? It's not the Hatch Act. What isn't there some law that says you can't use an office to
in order to obtain gifts and shit?
Yeah.
No, that's fuck yeah. Okay, cool.
Also, in theory, like with any other crypto scam, it could be like securities fraud or whatever, and you could.
Well, but you would have to prove that he did some. I don't think just having a crypto coin is a securities fraud.
Okay. I hate to run, but I have a family engagement that I need to go to. But I do parasocially each and every one of you. Reason Riffs is technically more sane than Destiny and argues tit for tat better than Destiny. And I'm looking forward to yelling at you guys in the future.
Wait, one final thing. Hold on. Wait. Really one final thing. Wait, no, I'm just curious. One final thing you need to understand, okay? Because I don't. Hopefully, Reason impresses upon you.
Right there.
What is?
He's like, wait, hold on.
What is the point? What is the point of a tit for tat system? Like ultimately, what does a good functioning tit for tat system look like?
Well, I don't even know if you would answer it this way, but I would answer it this way based off of my conversation with Reason Riffs. Hopefully the ideal outcome of a tit for tat is a eventual return to normalcy.
Yeah, you're saying in other words, yeah, basically the idea is there is no tits or tats because everybody's just cooperating because they know that if they fuck around, that the other party's going to get it back. So when you say like an eye for an eye, like in my ideal society, it's an eye for an eye, and everybody's walking around with two eyes. Because why the fuck would you take some other dude's eye if he's going to take yours? You don't fuck around, you know? And I'm repeating a meme I've heard this said. I don't know if it's actually true, but I'll repeat it because it's profound and it works here. An eye for an eye, theoretically, was supposed to be an upgrade at the time of how law and punishment was done back in the day. Because it was like if you stole something, the person fucking murdered you and maybe your family. But like an eye for an eye, a hand from a thief or whatever, is like you've done a crime and now there's a proportional response. You've done a bad thing and here's the proportional response. It was supposed to be an upgrade from just I'm killing you because you've wronged me, you know? So,
right.
Yeah. The goal of a tit for tat is there is no tit for tat, and we all just cooperate, ideally. That's why the cooperative element is
the cooperation is tit for tat. That's the point.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but then getting to like an even higher morality, which once again, like earlier today, I was saying that I think that Republicans, similar to, and I think they take God's name in vain by clothing themselves in righteousness and religion while doing the opposite of what their religion prescribes. I also think they take the Republic in vain, where they clothe themselves in the Constitution and republicanism and the history of the Republican Party while doing the opposite of what that philosophy dictates. And so the point is, though, that like if we were able to return to normal, let's say that Trump disappears, we don't have a cult leader. As a result, we're able to move into a better political sphere. Then the ideal is going to be we can turn the other cheek because we expect that it was like accidental. You fucked up. You hurt me. Now I can turn the other cheek. Then we can get into tit for tat. Then we can get into eye for an eye. My problem is that like what seems to be, or at least what my understanding was that it seemed like you were advocating for eye for an eye instead of tit for tat. And anytime somebody brought up a complication with your specific tit for tat formula, instead of being like, yeah, you're right, actually that could fuck this up, I'm going to come up with a better proportional legal defensive solution, you were like, yeah, fuck it, let's kill each other, who gives a fuck? And that's like, that feels like eye for an eye and a rush to the bottom and a rush to anarchic violence.
Sure, I understand what you're saying there, and we just fundamentally disagree on this, I think, or whatever. But like the feeling that I'm trying to impress upon others from the lib left end, the feeling is just that like you have a person who's arms and legs have been chopped off, and now the person's like siphoning blood out of their body to take one of their kidneys, and then you're like, you know what? Fuck this guy. I'm gonna fucking chop his fucking hand off if he comes near me again. And you're like, excuse me, can we trim his fingernails first? You're gonna chop his fucking hand off? You're insane. Meanwhile, Trump is gearing up for another false indictment, another crypto scam, another murdering people in Venezuela. And it's like, holy shit. That's the issue that I have, is that people just don't seem to understand how far removed.
But that's the thing, right? The argument is against how it's been done so far. And the idea behind tit for tat is proportional, right? Non-cooperation if they don't cooperate. So you have to do it proportionately. It might be in a different way, but it's got to be of the same magnitude. It can't just be trimming the nails when you need to cut the hands off.
Just to be clear real quick, I disagree. I'm not advocating for proportional. Everything I've advocated for, including my most extreme things, is less proportional. If I were to advocate for proportional, it would be civil war. We'd be going to war, because that's how fun.
Well, I mean, in very creative ways, right? But I mean, in terms of the effect on their party, on their success, it should be proportional.
But hold on. This is where I think that if we had, I don't know, competent, intelligent legislators who were as competent and intelligent as Reason Riffs, then we would come up with creative solutions. So for instance, like we just passed the big beautiful bill or whatever, obviously government shutdown, all that kind of bullshit. But what would be negotiated is, especially once the Democrats have the majority in the House, effectively what you could do is you could fuck with the funding for Southcom, the military apparatus that is within South America. And you could say, until you have an AUMF, authorization for use of military force, until we get transparency through the intelligence reports of who the people that you've killed are, until we get cooperation from the military and intelligence agencies, we are withholding funding for Southcom. Like, we'll give you just enough in order to keep the soldiers alive and keep them operating, but you will not have money for Hellfires, you will not have money for drones, you will not have money for fuel until we get transparency from the executive branch about this thing. And I would view that as like a proportional, sane response to what's going on in South America. Whereas, once again, you're jumping to civil war.
You're just take it away from Ukraine.
But you're just to be clear, that's not proportional, and you seem to have a huge issue with this, like a court telling you to stop doing it. Somebody, I don't remember who it was, somebody brought up an extreme example yesterday, but they were absolutely right. You're saying, like, some guy gets caught raping a woman, and you're like, excuse me, sir, you're not going to be allowed to rejoin society until you pull your dick out of her. And then once he does, you're like, okay, let's go back. And it's like, excuse me?
Okay, well, the other option is things that aren't going to fucking happen. So that's kind of
what things aren't going to happen, like worldwide tariffs.
You go to these like extreme personal examples in order to get like a visceral emotional reaction.
We're
but
murdering.
We could just describe the things that we're describing.
We're just blowing up Venezuelans right now. We're just murdering them, and Trump is posting videos of it on Twitter, bragging about it.
If we had an AUMF, it would be legal, but we don't have an AUMF.
So it's war crimes and murder.
That's the fight that needs to be fought.
No, it's already illegal. We don't need rules against it. It's already illegal right now. It's already illegal. It's not okay. They can't do it right now.
Then somebody needs to sue the Trump administration, because what's happening is Congress is supposed to be directing warfare with, like, as far as declared wars go, that's Congress's responsibility. As far as what we've done for the past 30 or 40 years,
I understand we're looping on this.
Congress doesn't give a fuck.
Then we've given the president emergency powers and authority to act in cases of terrorism.
I understand.
So what he did is he declared them narco-terrorists, and then he started killing them. So that needs to be litigated in a court of law.
It is.
But I was debating Kafka last week about this, about if Dems get power, and hopefully they do in 2028, what should their priority be? If they had a choice, is it between really going after the system and improving the US system, or is it going after and using, say, the 14th Amendment and going after the heads of these criminals who are in power right now? And I was for the latter. And I think the reason it's for the latter is because it follows tit for tat, and it leaves a message and a deterrence of, you can't do this and be criminal and not be in prison, or not face, at least not being in office. And I don't even think not being in office is enough. There must be a way to find to prosecute these people.
I was going to say, yeah,
when the Dems get power. It has to be
included. These people can't hold office, won't hold office again, and are impeached and removed from office. So
I gotta run. My parents mostly love you guys. I think you're pissing in the wind, but I think you're all excellent dudes anyways. So
thanks for coming on to my show, Connor. I really appreciate it.
Yep. Bye, guys.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Wow. That guy. He ran.
True.
Unbelievable.
Like a pussy.
No, Kafka wasn't against prosecuting people. He's just saying it wasn't the priority. But I actually think it should even be the priority, because otherwise it's just sending a message that you can get away with it, and they've been getting away with it for too long, and they've destroyed U.S. democracy, and it's really sad. It's really unconstitutional. It's really illiberal and against the freedoms that Americans have enjoyed. So it's just like the migrants that they're worried about coming over the border and changing and not accepting American culture. They don't accept American culture, right? In terms of the freedoms, the fundamentals. So they can't get away with it. They have to be prosecuted.
Yeah, Connor's issue is that he somehow thinks that those people not being able to hold office ever again isn't proportional or isn't accountability for the shit that they're doing right now. I can't. I have no idea why he thinks that. Because even if you did it legally, he's still like, no, you don't do that. No. It's just completely
he's worried about escalation, but actually the most escalatory thing you can do is to appease. It just leaves a message. It's going back to this analogy I had earlier. I don't know if Destiny heard it, but it's just like you have a baby in the pram, it keeps throwing its toys out the pram. You don't keep putting the toy back in the pram. At some point, you leave it out of the pram, so the baby stops learning to throw the toy out the pram, right? And at the moment, the Republicans, they're throwing everything out of the pram, and people just keep putting it back in. Or
like Trump
or
is on the precipice of declaring like the Democratic Party like a domestic terrorist organization. Like it's just like
he's literally saying to hang them. Like literally, like what do you get?
Okay, I'm watching this. Apparently, Mamdani is meeting Trump soon, so I love you guys. Be careful, okay?
All right.
Yeah. Take care. Yeah.
Says someone congratulated him in your feed, so think he was there but out of view a few minutes ago? Well, again, I'm not aware. I haven't seen any reporting that he's there.
Wait, is this really happening? Why? Or is it normal? Maybe does the president normally meet with the mayor of New York?
So hold on. So that guy on the right just said, it's still closed. If it's opened up, we'll take you in.
Mamdani requested it.
Ooh,
okay.
Again,
Debate
as I've been
time.
saying, it's right now officially they're not scheduled to be on camera. I think they're gonna appear on camera. That's what I think. We'll have to see if that happens.
What? Why'd you guys make me?
It's so I don't. Now,
Liberals are such cucks, man. Mamdani going to be put in the cuck chair while Trump jokes about Arabs, immigrants, and New Yorkers so big. I don't think so. Mamdani doesn't seem to carry himself that way. I would be surprised if that was. I feel like Mamdani would get the better of Trump in any live televised conversation. I feel that.
Give me
I feel that
seconds.
so strongly. I don't know if Trump would even agree to have a live conversation with him. I don't know how aware Trump would be of his weakness there.
As to whether he is there or not. Conflicting reports.
The thing is that most of the people that Trump talks to, Trump has leverage on. Mamdani's the mayor of New York. He already won his election. He's a Democrat. Trump can't do shit to him. So Trump is like uniquely powerless, like a Joker situation. Like with all his power, there's nothing you can do, you know?
3, so we got a little time, but I should get notes as soon as, the pool arrives inside the Oval, which should be...
How do you play this for your Mamdani? He kind of has to glaze him, doesn't he? Why? Why would Mamdani have to glaze Trump?
What did that guy just say? Hold on, let me rewind this for a second. Hold on.
So right now,
Hold on, let's play this.
it's either delayed or
Hold on. Hold on.
closed.
Yeah.
Don't know which.
I think all the tea leaves suggest delayed. Because they've basically been signaling.
Oh my God.
Right.
What if they're off screen having an aura farming tournament? I'm sorry.
True. Very true.
So those reporters or those journalists there are saying they think that there's going to be an Oval Office appearance. They were just talking about it. And they were, okay, so that's the people we just heard talking off camera. They were saying they think that there is going to be an appearance that press will be at inside the White House. And it's just not going to be at 3, it's delayed. So again, it's a little weird because CNN says the meeting's going to happen soon. MS Now and Fox News say Mamdani's at the White House. So I'm seeing different reports on whether he's there. Literally on my TV screen, I see 2 different reports about whether he's there or not. Oh, hang on, he is there. I can. MS Now's Kayla Gardner reports that Mamdani is there, according to a White House official. So, Mamdani now at White House for meeting with Trump. Okay? Again, a White House official tells MS Now that Mamdani is at the White House. Now, just to be clear, sorry for the confusion. CNN has also updated their headline, and they say he is now meeting there. So he's now there for the meeting. So, but again, we're waiting to see if we have footage of an appearance by them. Even if there's footage, I don't think the whole meeting will be on camera. But I'm guessing they're going to do an appearance there.
Hey there. Oh, Sophie, is that a control pen or a piggy pen?
Toonsis says I might have missed this. Toonsis says the hot mic acknowledged him being there at 2:56 p.m. So sorry that I missed that if I missed it. But again, there were still different reports, but at this point, it's being widely reported that Mamdani is at the White House. Thank you, Toonsis and PB Andre, and hold on a second here. We gotta keep respect the chat rules. Thanks, Olive Tav and Crazy Yoda, Boomer Wow, White Power Ranger fan, Super Dagomi from the Philippines.
Working Dad.
Thank you, Super Dagomi, for your support. Also, all right, hang on a moment. So again, we just heard a couple minutes ago on this feed, a couple of the journalists there saying they think that there's going to be some sort of inside the White House appearance, but we're not positive yet.
Not positive yet.
Now, I'll say this also.
What?
Even if they don't appear together, ABC 7 News New York City says we are waiting to hear from Zoran Mamdani. So even if they don't appear together, for all we know, Mamdani could come out and speak at this microphone himself if they don't appear together. Also, it's possible they could appear in the White House and then Mamdani could speak outside after.
Love you. Bye. You see that, Dano? Hey there.
What's happening?
Yep. Yes. Because we're hearing that the whole control train that goes down as planned is top of the meeting. And so if it's still and that gets run out, that will not be broadcast in real time. I have some people there.
Oh. There's another possibility.
How excited are you for this? It would be cool if it happened, but...
Okay.
The grand scale thing?
Guys, I just heard something.
Uh-oh. What'd you hear, Steve?
So, the person speaking in the background off camera said that they were hearing that what's going to happen is there will be an appearance by Trump and Mamdani in the Oval Office.
Uh-oh.
But what will happen is that won't be live broadcast. It'll be recorded, and then while the actual meeting is going on, that recording will be released to the public. This is what, if you remember when Trump got into the big argument with Zelensky months ago, that's what happened, is we didn't watch that live. What happened is that was going on in the Oval Office and it was recorded, and then the White House allowed it to be released, I guess, afterwards. So from what the person in the background just said is, and it could be happening right this second, is that Trump and Mamdani will do an appearance with the press, maybe take questions in the White House. Maybe it's going on right now. Once it's over, that will be posted and we'll watch it when it's released. But they'll also be privately meeting after that is released. So I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, that's what I heard the person say a couple minutes ago on the feed. And that is something that sometimes the White House does do. Sometimes with these meetings, you get the video of it, but it's not live video.
All right, guys. Well, this is the busiest part of my day right now, so I can't go. But I'm gonna call you at bedtime and probably after 6 o'clock because everything is very busy. Okay.
Oh, hey guys, look at this. White House spokesperson Stephen Chung, look what he posted.
What did he post?
Look what Stephen Chung posted at 2:55 p.m. Too late, guys. Y'all are too slow.
Uh-oh.
Now, they were there before 2:55. He just
no.
didn't actually go in that way. It's not that they were too late there. But that's it. White House Assistant to the President and White House Director of Communications, Stephen Chung, posted, "Too late, guys. Y'all are too slow."
Yeah. Yes. Probably. Are you okay? You all right? Okay. All right, guys. I gotta go. Love you.
Love you too.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks to Echoes Life, our member. Hey, Fred Flintstone gave 20 people memberships. That's so nice of you, Fred Flintstone. Thank you, Fred. Thanks, Debbie James, our member. So again, it sounds like we're going to get video of some of the meeting coming out soon. Recorded video. That's what it sounds like. Oh, by the way, Karen M. Thanks, Karen M., for sending me the Stephen Chung post. I hadn't seen that. I saw it myself, but I just realized Karen M. told me a while back about it.
Fuck, marry, kill. Your soulmate who makes everything about your life better. An aunt who's actively biting your hand. A hot porn star who is not looking for any kind of committed relationship. I feel like you should fuck the soulmate because sex with loved ones is always the best. You should kill the porn star because they're unethical and a slut. You should marry the aunt who's biting you because they're constantly challenging you to be a better person.
Zick says they might high five. Hold on a moment. Checking some of the other things people have sent me.
Checking. Any checkers in chat? Anybody else checking right now?
Hey, Jay. Yes. You didn't talk to me just yet, right? I did not. So I haven't talked to you. White House rule. White House rule? Okay.
Lagging Game says, "Is Mom Donnie going to have to say thank you?" Reese Black says, "I think they'll hug."
This shot's prettier than our shot, honestly. Get away.
Mom Donnie is already there. That's why it says on the screen, Mom Donnie now at White House for meeting with Trump.
Okay.
He is there.
That's our screen reader, guys.
Ill No More says, "I think they secretly get along really well." Lisa Midaw says she doesn't think we'll see anything. Well, as I mentioned, one of the journalists a short while ago on this stream was heard saying that his understanding was that at the start of the meeting they would do an appearance in front of the cameras, but it would not be broadcast live. But then when they are done with the start of the meeting, that part would be broadcast live, and then they would continue with their private meeting.
Okay.
So if that's the case, we will get footage sometime soon of the first part of the meeting.
Okay.
I do not have confirmation that's what's going to happen, though.
Okay.
So what we'll really just have to see.
Joe Bob Mann. That's Nick. RJ last night. It feels like the biggest issue is that people can't extrapolate how truly bad the Republican Party's become. My dad was a Trump supporter from the start, and he voted for him last year.
Daniel says, "Are we getting?"
It wasn't until we sat down and watched the New York Times video on January 6th did he actually started to change his mind. He's fully on board with putting the. Oh, don't
I
worry.
think we're going to.
Once my Jan 6 video comes out, everything will change. Okay.
It's going to be recorded and then released. I have not heard anything from the White House press pool about the meeting, but I don't know that meeting that could
Does
just
he have like
mean
connects
that they're not
there
saying anything
at the
about
press pool? Is he connected?
I do remember when Zelensky got into the argument with Trump. When Trump and Zelensky got into that big argument, it was not being broadcast live at the time, but there were reports about it from reporters. I've seen no reports from any reporters about a meeting going on at the moment.
He's doing it now.
I knew you mentioned come on, just stand. I want to buy the house and make the other than now. Right? So we did a good run for why we did 25th insurance division
But as soon as I hear or see anything, I am going to let you know.
Is it normal
Let me
for
give
mayors
you a
of towns to be
little
brought to the
more
White House? No, I don't think that's normal.
AP
but,
says Trump and Mamdani
Apparently Mamdani
meet today
requested
in
the
the
meeting.
Oval Office. They have cast each other as adversaries for months.
Uh-oh.
President Trump has called Mamdani, the mayor-elect of New York City, a 100% communist lunatic and a total nutjob. Mamdani has called Trump's administration authoritarian and described himself as Donald Trump's worst nightmare.
Uh-oh. Worst nightmare.
And today is their first ever face-to-face meeting.
Oh, shit.
I don't know that they've
Drama.
met even non-face-to-face. AP says it's their first ever meeting. Despite months of casting each other as prime adversaries, the Republican president and new Democratic star have also indicated an openness to finding areas of agreement that help the city they've both called home. Trump today, in a Fox News radio interview, said he expected the meeting will be quite civil.
Wow.
Trump said, "I think we'll get along fine. Look, we're looking for the same thing. We want to make New York strong."
Okay.
Trump today said Mamdani has a different philosophy, but said he gives Mamdani a lot of credit for his campaign and said he ran a good race.
Wow.
Trump, when asked today about some of Mamdani's comments challenging him directly, said, "I'm a little hard to, in all fairness." Interesting.
He really has an infectious smile. Is there anybody else that hates taking selfies? I hate taking selfies. Oh my God, I hate them so much.
City more affordable.
If you're Mamdani here, what would be the benefit of asking for a meeting with Trump? It's the president of the United States. What do you mean? It's exposure. If anything else, no?
Trump had a communist
who wouldn't talk
and
to the president of the United
threatened to
States.
yank
What do you
federal
mean?
funds from Trump's hometown of New York City. AP says the two men are convenient political foils for each other, and taking the other one on can galvanize their supporters. During the election campaign, Trump endorsed a different candidate in New York City, former Governor Andrew Cuomo, and predicted the city has zero chance of success or even survival if Mamdani won. Trump has also predicted that Mamdani will prove to be one of the best things to ever happen to our great Republican Party.
No.
AP says the meeting also gives Trump a high-profile chance to talk about affordability at a time when he's under increasing political pressure to show he is addressing voter concerns about the cost of living. It is not immediately clear whether cameras will be allowed into the meeting.
Okay.
Trump's daily schedule said the meeting will be private, but President Trump often invites in a small pool of reporters at the last minute. Again, on this live stream that we're looking at, one of the people there said a short while ago they thought that some of the meeting will be recorded and then will be released to the press after the recording is made.
Okay.
I feel like I should be over there, but then you wouldn't have the picture.
Wait, how did you wait?
But I wanted to be able to see that camera.
We'll wait and see if anybody on this stream says anything about what to expect.
If I had a 16, I'd probably that is halfway. And it's just that thing. Just recently,
Oh, wait, that's so good.
I actually have. Hold on a second. What is this?
Hold on.
Okay.
Because you're totally blocked from my vantage, so
I have a second camera angle here. I have camera angle 2 of the same thing.
A second camera angle.
Hey guys, look.
Who do you think wrote the pink letter to Jon Snow? Wait, what? Vader V stream.
One moment here.
Jesus.
Hey, look, it's camera angle 2. How's the audio on that?
Camera angle 2.
Can we hear on that one or not?
Can we?
This, let me turn it up a little bit on this one. Let's see what this one is.
Jesus. All right, almost done. Hold on.
It's not really much better. Somebody shout. We'll go back to the first one.
Okay. Destiny's read the books? Oh, is it a book thing?
Yes.
pink
Shackle
letter?
Text says the first shot is better.
okay. Let me talk to my people. You guys keep me informed so they can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so here, see what's so I can happy to get from
Hang on one moment here.
Hang on one moment, guys. Hang on one moment here, guys. Hold on, guys.
One of our viewers said, "What is democratic socialism?"
What is that, Steve? Stop.
We're not going to get into a whole thing about democratic socialism now.
Okay.
But Mamdani is a democratic socialist.
What does that mean?
One thing that Wikipedia says is democratic socialism is a left-wing economic and political philosophy that supports political democracy.
Okay.
So, a democracy in terms of politics, voting and representation and all that, but also it supports some form of a socially owned economy.
Wow. That's crazy, chat. What does that mean?
So, again, political democracy and social economic principles.
Mm-hmm.
Socialist economic principles.
Yes, that's what I was making sure of. They were happy with it, and that they were okay if I was invited by Jackie will be over there by the.
Wikipedia also says democratic socialists argue that capitalism is inherently incompatible with the values of freedom, equality, and solidarity.
Wow, is that true?
And that these ideals can only be achieved through the realization of socialist society.
Okay, that's crazy. I'm a communist now. True.
I assume they are actually meeting right now. That has not been confirmed. What's been confirmed is Mamdani is at the White House. I assume they are meeting.
Mamdani? Is he mobbing him?
But we very well might get video soon from that meeting. Thank you, God Rides a Harley, who thinks socialism is communism with lipstick. Thank you for your support. Thanks
Wow.
also to Echo's Life, our member.
Epic.
Hang on a moment here. Oh, I got a little behind in my chat. Daniel thinks Trump is probably showing him his 2028 merchandise. Thank you, I am Charlie. Thank you, Sergey is Sergey, who thinks they're going to edit the video of the meeting. You know, normally if they have a meeting and then they come out with a video after, normally it's not edited. Normally it's just the top part of the meeting, or it's a part where they each say something and then they take questions.
Wow,
then
really?
they kick the press out. So I wonder if that's what it'll be, but we'll have to see. I mean, I hope we get to see some video.
I don't know thoughts on whether or not Lickner lives up to being agenda-free.
Thanks, Egon. Egon says, I wonder if the meeting will be, the video would be edited in any way.
Wow, Egon.
Interesting choice by President Trump.
I don't know. I don't watch him much.
Thanks,
you guys
I
watch
am
him in
Charlie,
chat.
who
Does he
thinks
even
this
do
is going to
politics?
be
I feel like he just
a
covers the
meeting
news,
with a
no?
Mouse. Thanks, Kadosh77.
Jesus.
Gary Baines says, why would they edit the meeting? They didn't edit the outlandish Zelensky meeting. Joyce McLean says, Mamdani will not talk back to Trump will be a fatal mistake. There's a lot of press out there, guys. There's a lot of press out there. Look at all the press. It is crowded. Amy Lynn thinks Mamdani will learn a lot.
There's a couple crash outs on
Thank
YouTube.
you, Mob.
He crashes out? Steve?
Mamdani is a U.S. citizen, by the way. He became a U.S. citizen in 2018. He came to the U.S. with his family when he was 7 years old. Thank you so much, Mob, from Canada, for your support.
What? Somebody link me in YouTube chat.
A new post from Stephen Chung.
What's the
Hey,
find me the
guys,
best
look
YouTube
at
video with
this.
StarCraft
White
sound
House
effects, okay?
Communications Director Stephen Chung just posted 4 minutes ago and said, guys, what are you doing? About the reporters.
Uh-oh.
Guys, what are you doing?
Uh-oh.
I don't know exactly what that means. It could mean different things.
Just download the sound effects files. Are they available somewhere?
I mean, you might think it means that they're not going to appear outside. Thanks, I am Charlie. Thanks, Gen Xer. Gen Xer thinks that Trump looks older than 79 next to attractive 34 Mamdani. Wow. That's what Gen Xers said. Thanks Somichi38, who thinks Trump's bullying won't work with Mamdani. Karen Catch thinks there will be no press opportunity. Well, again, one of the people on this live stream said they had heard that there's going to be a recording made during the meeting, possibly taking questions, and it's going to be released after it's made, which could certainly happen. So we'll just have to see. Thanks, Vmon Guy 686 for your support, who says, I live in South America. None of the people calling Mamdani a socialist or communist know what they are talking about.
Uh-oh.
Ronald Jong thinks Stephen Chung is trolling and it is funny. Sunkist says all that press is impressive. There's been not a peep about what's going on in the White House yet that I've seen. Very interesting.
Not a peep.
The usual meeting in the White House like this, what would normally happen is you'd see the person show up at the front here, they'd go inside, and then a short while later there would be a live appearance in the Oval Office, and we would see that, and then, but that wouldn't be the whole meeting. Not the whole meeting wouldn't be live broadcast, but there would be a live appearance in the Oval Office, and they'd take some questions. And that's what we would see. And they would then meet, they would also meet in private. Today, that obviously didn't happen because we didn't see them show up. And also, it's unclear whether we'll get any video from the meeting.
Yeah. I got you, Jimmy. How many do you want?
But I haven't heard any reporting, for example, from the White House press pool inside about what's going on.
Wow.
Chelsea Hall thinks Trump is going to destroy him. Thanks to Who Shot JR for your support on Twitch. Thanks, really appreciate it. Thanks to Frukar Toffine for your support on Twitch. Big Dog Gaming, thanks for your support on Twitch. Thanks Turo the Great for your support. Thanks Sevenfold for your support. I really appreciate that. Sevenfold 7777. I'm interested, just like you guys, to get more information.
Wait, where's Kafka? Is he in here? Is he in here?
You know, I'm so used to crowd. Is this okay?
It's better than like the round. It's better.
You need to get out. So like this thing will last me. All right, I created it. Let Henry out of crowd. Oh my God! There we go. Crowd moment.
We're going to hear something or other soon. Breaking news.
Breaking news. Oh shit.
I told you what I thought was going to happen. I told you I thought they were going to be on camera.
Wait.
Caitlin Collins from CNN just posted the White House just called the press pool, signaling cameras are about to be in the room for President Trump and Mamdani's meeting. There you go. I told you. I mean, I've seen this kind of thing happen before, but again, Caitlin Collins of CNN says the White House just called the press pool, signaling cameras are about to be in the room for President Trump and Mayor-elect Mamdani's meeting. I couldn't really imagine that they were not going to do an appearance. Austin Batman says this will be epic. So again, cameras expected soon. Will it be live? Will it be recorded?
Mic check, white balance.
Mic check, test, check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll spin it around. Give me a minute. Mic check, test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Mic
6,
check,
7,
mic
8,
check.
9, 10. Mic check, test 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, the White House is live. The White House is live on their feed.
Breaking.
The White House feed is live. The White House social media is live. How about that?
How about that, guys?
So initially they kept saying it's not going to be on camera,
But now-
the White House is actually live. Look at this. We will begin shortly. We will begin shortly.
You good?
We will begin shortly.
All right. Everyone good?
There it is. Oh my gosh. What a turn of events. What a turn of events.
Dave, you said 55? Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah, man.
Hold on. Do I have footage of this? No. Give me a moment, though. Give me a moment. There might be another feed I have to pull up.
Mexico wins this game.
What? This guy. Destiny approaching a subpoenaed witness in what appears to be a stalking incident is insane. Lauren De Laguna should strongly consider a police report or a protective order if she's serious about this actually being near her workplace. Just look at the video. Stalking. She's looking at me. I'm standing here. I'm stalking her. And then somebody said, you got that reversed. She approached him. Proof? Wait, now you want proof? What? What? Does it matter who approached who when he's videoing his own harassment of her? How? This is the most popular street in Austin. She can just walk away at any time. She does at the end. And she's antagonizing me. How is Destiny not living in constant fear? What is this? Apparently the lawyer legal mindset can't. She's not a witness in this case. Yes, I am against my will. Why do you say against my will? Do you know what a subpoena is? Definitionally is against your will. Yes, it's compelling you to do something. It's a subpoena. Why? I feel like people want to use like non-consent for everything. I was unconsensually subpoenaed to make everything sound like rape or whatever. I actually don't know 100%. If is a deponent considered a witness? They might be. I don't know. I feel like, and I shouldn't say in common parlance because it's all legal terms, but like I feel like a witness is the person who goes to trial. Like if you depose somebody, but none of the deposition makes it to any court filings, or they don't go to trial, is that still considered a witness? It might be. That means you're a deponent and may be called as a witness. If you were a witness, then you understand this interaction will not qualify as witness intimidation, which requires threats or coercion with the intent to influence, prevent, or punish the person's testimony. Bro, as a lawyer, I cannot express to you how incorrect you are, LOL. In order to be deposed, you need to be on a witness list and designated as a witness. Neither of those things are true. Those are both false. This is just not true. You sure you're a lawyer? You can depose whoever you want related to a trial. That's basically true, yeah. You only need to add them to the witness list if they will be testifying live. Want to reserve the possibility of calling them to trial, or if you will present depo as evidence. I'm pretty sure that's true.
Referred to Mr. Mamdani as a communist. Could you describe why you feel that way? And also, will you do anything to stop him from arresting Prime Minister Netanyahu if he visits New York?
Well, we didn't discuss your second part of the question, and on your first part, I mean, he's got views that are a little out there, but who knows? I mean, we're going to see what works, or he's going to change also. We all change. I changed a lot. From when I first came to office. It's now quite a while ago. It's quite a while. My first term was great. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We're doing even better now. We're doing much better now than we did even the first term. And I can tell you some of my views have changed. And we had discussions on some things. I'm not going to discuss what they were, but that I feel very confident that he can do a very good job. I think he's going to be. I think he is going to surprise some conservative people.
You used to brag about how smart that girl was, by the way, and would get mad when we correctly identified you just wanted to smash. No, she's a pretty intelligent person. The issue that you have is in your mind, because you're an autistic ass-me fuck. Your mind smart only means that they know the things that you care about like computers or science. Like in your mind, that's what like smart is. But that's okay. We can all have our own differences of opinion. Melina's very intelligent as well. She is. But like if people can't do like math or work a computer at like a high level or whatever, you're like, oh, that person's not smart. Anybody in my book that can graduate with a pure math degree, that's a pretty intelligent person, okay?
Actually. And
she got a law degree in 2 years.
Some very liberal people he won't support.
I feel like Lav is the ultimate litmus test into whether or not somebody can evaluate the intelligence of a person. Like if you look at somebody like Lav and you think, oh, Lav, she's not smart at all. Your gauge for smartness is like how many things do they have memorized in like the one particular field that I think determines whether or not a person is smart or not, I think.
Because they already like him.
And Mr. Mamdani, it sounds like you had a productive discussion, but just days ago you referred to President Trump as a despot who had betrayed the country. You said you'd be his worst nightmare and accused him of having a fascist agenda. Are you planning to retract any of these remarks in order to improve your relationship?
I think both President Trump and I, we are very clear about our positions and our views, and what I really appreciate about the President is the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many, and also focused on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers. And frankly, that is something that could transform the lives of the 8.5 million people who are currently struggling under a cost of living crisis with 1 in 4 living in poverty. And the meeting came back again and again to what it could look like to lift those New Yorkers out of struggle and start to deliver them a city that they could do more than just struggle to afford it, but actually start to live in it.
And I've been called much worse than a despot, so it's not that insulting. Maybe I think he'll change his mind after we get to working together. Yes, please.
Mr. President, Anthony Mashak from MTV Lebanon. I would like to ask you a question about the Middle East regarding you said that Hezbollah in Lebanon is not in a good position, and Lebanon now is the final unresolved after Gaza and Syria. Given your assessment, like what do you say for the Lebanese today? It's the independent state in Lebanon, and what is your next move to push toward?
But she's doing retarded things, Lav. That's why I would call her a retard. Yeah, that's fair. Lav is fucking retarded. But Lav is also intelligent. But there's a difference. Intelligent people can do retarded fucking things. Retarded people can also live in smart ways. It just depends.
The disarmament of Hezbollah.
Well, we are pushing for total disarmament of Hamas and, frankly, everybody else. And we actually have peace in the Middle East. As you know, the King of Saudi Arabia just left yesterday.
Peace in the Middle East.
We had some great meetings, and he's made a contribution toward the United States of more than $1 trillion. We have now over $20 trillion coming in. No country has ever had anything like that, not even close. If you go to 2 trillion or 1 trillion, it's a lot. We have 20 or 21 trillion dollars. I think that Hezbollah has been a problem in Lebanon, big problem. We're working with Lebanon. We're working with everybody in the Middle East. That's another thing I think we have in common. We want to see peace in the Middle East, and we actually have now for the first time peace in the Middle East after 3,000 years. And now
that's true. We had peace in the Middle East last time, and it disappeared in one presidency.
We're going to refine it, and I think you're going to see some very positive things happen.
There is a potential to invite the Lebanese president to meet you to the White House.
I would do that, absolutely. And if the mayor would like to be here for that meeting, because I know he feels very strongly. I think you feel very, very strongly about peace in the Middle East.
We desperately want it, and that's something that I shared with the president, that when I spoke to New Yorkers who had voted for the president last November on Hillside Avenue and Fordham Road, I asked them why. I heard again and again 2 major reasons. One was that they wanted an end to forever wars. They wanted an end to the taxpayer dollars we had funding violations of human rights, and they wanted to address the cost of living crisis. And I appreciated the chance to discuss both of those things.
You said a lot of my voters actually voted for him, and I'm okay with that.
Isn't calling a retard mean they're stupid? Don't call Lav retard if she's smart, not good. Well, I mean, like do you think Martin Shkreli is smart, or do you think Martin Shkreli is stupid? Do you think he's an intelligent person? Or do you think he's an idiot?
I'll do that. I'll sign it. Give it to me. I'll sign it in a minute. That's pretty good.
Mr. President, you've threatened to send federal troops to New York City. You both have differences when it comes to ICE agents in New York City. Mr. Mamdani, you've called ICE a rogue government entity. I wonder how you reconcile your differences on both of those issues.
Well, I think we're going to work them out, and I think that if we have known murderers and known drug dealers and some very bad people, we want to get them out. And the mayor wants to have peace. We discussed this at great length, actually, maybe more than anything else. He wants to have a safe New York. Ultimately, a safe New York is going to be a great New York. If it's not safe, no matter how well we do with pricing and with anything else, we can talk about anything you want. If you don't have safe streets, it's not going to be a success. So we're going to work together. We're going to make sure that if there are horrible people there, we want to get them out. I think he wants to get them out maybe more than I do. So we'll work together. We discussed it at great length. Yes, please.
2 questions, if I may. One for you, Mr. President, on BBC in a second. But first of all, for the mayor-elect, you're both from different parts of the political spectrum. You're both populists, though, and I just wonder to what extent the president's campaign style, his techniques, his social media use inspired any part of your campaign.
Well, I actually told the president that so much of the focus of our campaign has been on the cost of living crisis. And when we asked those New Yorkers who had voted for the president, when we saw an increase in his numbers in New York City, that came back to the same issue: cost of living, cost of living, cost of living. And they spoke about the cost of groceries, the cost of rent, the cost of Con Ed, the cost of childcare. And too often politicians are looking to lecture to New Yorkers what they should care about as opposed to listen. And when we spoke to those voters who voted for President Trump, we heard them speak about cost of living. We focused on that same cost of living, and that's where I am really looking forward to delivering for New Yorkers in partnership with the president on the affordability agenda.
And I think we have to work a little bit. We talked about Con Edison. We have to work a little bit on getting the prices because, we've gotten fuel prices way down, but it hasn't shown up in Con Edison. And we're going to have to talk to them. If we're sending them fuel at a much lower price than it was a year ago, which is true, we have to get Con Edison to start lowering their rates.
Absolutely.
And if I may, last week you told me you were pushing ahead with your plans to sue the BBC for up to $5 billion. You're going to speak to Prime Minister Starmer as well. Is there any progress or any updates on those issues?
Well, we get along very well with the Prime Minister. We made a deal with UK. I like him. He's a fine person. And, I think they have some big energy problems. They've got windmills all over the place. They're going to have to start using other methods because their energy is out of control. Talking about in the UK, it's out of control. And he's got that problem. He's got a big immigration problem, as you know, and he's got a big energy problem. And we talk about it. He's a good man. Prime Minister's a good man.
You have a chance to speak this week?
I haven't spoken this week.
Have you spoken to President Zelensky, or do you intend to meet with him, President Zelensky, about your plan? Are you going to meet with him?
I've spoken with their people. We have a plan. It's horrible what's happening. It's a war that should have never happened. It would have never happened if I was president, and it's a shame. And I thought they should have acted quicker. But it's a cold winter, and a lot of the you talk about utilities, but a lot of the big energy producing plants have been under attack, to put it mildly, to put it nicely. We have a way of getting peace, or we think we have a way of getting peace. He's going to have to approve it. Just so sad, so many people. Last month they lost 25,000 soldiers. This is something, we haven't seen anything like this since the Second World War. And they're averaging 6,000 or 7,000 a week between the two of them, dead soldiers. And it goes on, and I think they're getting reasonably close. But I don't want to predict. I would have said that would have been one of my early ones. I did 8 peace deals of countries, including in India, Pakistan. You could even go, in fact, they're coming here in a week or two, go to the Congo and Rwanda. That was 10 million people dead, and we worked something out on that. But so many. And the one I thought would have been, for me, because I have a very good relationship with President Putin.
So the face of socialism instantly started bootlicking when it's convenient. I was under the impression by the precipice revolution. Meanwhile, Zelensky was more antagonistic. Well, I don't know if Mamdani's bootlicking. What? I don't get that impression.
Thought that would have been maybe quicker, but it does take two to tango. And now you just see all the death. And it doesn't affect us other than the fact that we don't want to see all those people that really is on the other side of the ocean. It's a war that should have never happened. It happened. I blame the person also sitting right behind this desk. This is a war that should have never happened, and it wouldn't have happened if I were president. But we're trying to save a lot of lives. They're losing 25,000 lives over the last short period of time. That's Ukrainian and Russian, and it's a shame.
I want to ask the mayor-elect about a House resolution. It just passed overwhelmingly to condemn socialism, including with 86 Democrats, all of House Dem leadership, and the minority leader, Hakeem Jeffries, despite...
Why? What? Wait, did this happen? When did this happen? What?
His endorsement of you. What's your reaction to that?
I have to be honest with you, I focused very little on resolutions. Frankly, I've been focusing...
Condemn socialism.
I understand. I think the focus is on the work at hand. I can tell you I am someone who is a democratic socialist. I've been very open about that. And I know there might be differences about ideology, but the place of agreement is the work that needs to be done to make New York City affordable. That's what I look forward to.
And I want to clarify your answer to Stephen Nelson. He asked about your comment calling the president a fascist. And your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes.
Okay.
It's easier. It's easier than...
Do you think he just doesn't like him talking? Mamdani's good at answering questions. Mamdani's very good at answering questions. What do you think about, what do you think about the fact that the House just condemned socialism? There's a lot of stuff going on. Okay, well, it's kind of an attack against him, kind of. My party's fighting against me. I need to find a way to work with it. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on there. We could respond with anger or antagonism. We could just say, you know, fuck him, I don't care about that. We, you know, whatever. But like, he threads the needle like very well all the time, you know, like, I'm not really concerned about what goes on in terms of resolutions, but we both agree that there are things that we need to work on. I am a democratic socialist, so like, he doesn't necessarily sell to his position. He doesn't obsess over being antagonistic or trying to make enemies of the people there, and then he tries to find like a common area of agreement. He's very good at answering questions. Yeah.
Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes. Okay. It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
I wanted to ask you also about this Ukraine plan. President Zelensky said today that his country would risk either giving up a partner or giving up its dignity. There's been criticism that this deal proposal...
He doesn't like it?
It's unclear. He was sort of tenuous about it.
He'll have to like it. And if he doesn't like it, then, you know, they should just keep fighting, I guess. You know?
The suggestion that he made, though, was that if he doesn't accept it, that the U.S. would pull back its support for Ukraine. Is that
well, at some point he's going to have to accept something. You know, he hasn't accepted you.
I think he genuinely likes Mamdani because Mamdani probably smooth talked him already. Trump seems to be in a good mood. Maybe. Mamdani is good at smooth talking. There's also like there are a few places in the United States that people are just very, very, very proud to be from. It wouldn't surprise me if you could find, New Yorkers are fucking obsessed with New York. If you could find one thing one common restaurant they've been to or one New Yorker experience to talk about, it wouldn't surprise me if that like instantaneously, almost permanently endears you to Trump. But I mean, who's to say? Who knows what I thought? It was hard to say, you know.
The U.S. would pull back its support for Ukraine. Is that
well, at some point he's going to have to accept something. You know, he hasn't accepted. You remember right in the Oval Office not so long ago.
Trump also likes when people are nice to him. And Mamdani is one of the more, I don't know if it'll be permanent or not, but he's one of the more clouded politicians at the moment. AOC and the other big Dems have kind of receded. Newsom is doing his thing. But Mamdani is probably up there, I would imagine, in terms of like name recognition. Just current, like, I'm not saying like favorability or approval, but just in terms of like people know his name is like a big deal right now. So Trump probably likes, you know, like he liked meeting Kanye and everything else, you know.
I said, you don't have the cards. Don't forget, I inherited this war. This war never would have happened. I inherited this war. And I thought he should have made a deal a year ago, 2 years ago. The ultimate deal would have been if it never started. That would have been the good deal. That could have been done too if you had the right president, but you didn't have the right president.
Mr. President, the cost of living is something that you and Mr. Mamdani seem to agree on. Democrats have run New York City for a long time, Mr. Mamdani. Do you see Democrat policy specifically as being a problem? And I'd like that be a question that both of you could answer in New York City.
Look, I think that there are many things in our city where we have to own the responsibility of it, things that existed long before the president was the president. And those are also part of the message of our campaign, was to take on a broken politics of the past. And I ran against a number of candidates who represented different versions of that past. And what we found time and again is that working people were left behind in the politics of our city. And what we're looking to do is put those people right back at the heart of our politics so that we don't have a situation where we're in the wealthiest city in the history of the world, and yet 1 in 5 can't even afford $2.90 for a Metro card.
You know, we had some interesting conversation, and some of his ideas really are the same ideas that I have. But a big thing on cost, you know, the new word is affordability. Another word is just groceries. You know, it's sort of an old-fashioned word, but it's very accurate. And they're coming down high. They were, you know, we had, both of us, we had.
I remember my grandma and grandpa used to say that word, groceries. You guys ever heard that word before? Very old-fashioned.
You know, the new word is affordability. Another word is just groceries. You know, it's sort of an old-fashioned word, but it's very accurate. And they're coming down high. They were, you know, we had, both of us, we had the highest inflation in the history of our country the last 4 years under the Biden administration. And we've got inflation down now to a normal number. It's going to go even a little bit lower than that.
Hey, Destiny, why'd you block me on Twitter for saying a deponent is a witness? LOL. Jesus, dude. Been following you for a decade. Because I don't give a fuck. And you haven't been following me on Twitter for a decade. Because if you had, you would have known that my account hasn't been alive that long. Because it was banned in the past. Email me your Twitter name and I'll block you.
Katie, do you have something?
Mr. President, thank you so much. Mr. Mamdani often talks about New York City being covered by international law, that they will follow international law. Doesn't often talk about the U.S. Constitution. What is your response to that?
Well, I don't know what you're referring to in terms of it can be covered by international law, local law. It's covered by a lot of laws, but it's covered by U.S. law. Are you
for you really young people? Groceries is it's like imagine like DoorDash, but for here. Like imagine you have to go to the DoorDash place, but you like buy it there. That's like what the
referring to anything in particular?
He just says that they're a city that endorses and enforces international law.
Fucking children. Not like that though.
No, I don't know. Would you want to Do you want to respond?
Yeah, I think what I've shared with the president is our desire to not only follow the laws of our own city, laws that protect New Yorkers, but also a desire for consistency in our politics across the board. And that's something that we've talked about and something that I know many New Yorkers want.
We work with ICE. We work with ICE.
We discussed ICE and New York City, and I spoke about how the laws that we have in New York City allow for New York City government to speak to the federal administration for about 170 serious crimes. The concerns that many New Yorkers have are around the enforcement of immigration laws on New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs, and most recently we're talking about a mother and her 2 children, how this has very little to do with what that is.
What we did is we discussed crime. More than ICE per se, we discussed crime. And he doesn't want to see crime, and I don't want to see crime. And I have very little doubt that we're not going to get along on that issue. He wants to, and he said some things that were very interesting as to housing construction, and he wants to see houses go up. He wants to see a lot of houses created, a lot of apartments built, etc. And you know, we actually, people would be shocked, but I want to see the same thing.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel protesters.
Okay.
Mr. President, I want to know one of the policies as well that Mayor-elect Mamdani talked a number of times about on the campaign was shifting the tax burden for property taxes from what he called minority communities to white-based communities and putting more taxes on white people. I also noticed that in your acceptance speech you didn't mention anything about America or Christians or white people in general, and so I didn't know if that was one of the policies.
Oh man, fuck.
And putting more taxes on white people. I also noticed that in your acceptance speech you didn't mention anything taxes.
I'm so curious what he said to them. What he just said to him. Also, yeah, wait, I'm just curious. This isn't Jack Posobiec, is it? It sounds like him and it kind of looks like him. Is it Jack Posobiec? It is. No, it is. We should read his book. It's called Unhumans, I think. People tell me that apparently he wrote a book about how all liberals are becoming communists and you need to kill them. It's like some crazy unhinged book. I'm so curious what their fucking conversation was like behind the doors. There's like an interesting phenomenon almost where if Trump thinks he's like on the same team with Mamdani, I'm very curious what Mamdani just whispered to Trump, that as like Posobiec attacks Mamdani, or people are trying to attack them, Trump is like, oh look, they're coming after us, like we're on the same team, blood, right? Like this, like
on white people. I also noticed that in your acceptance speech you didn't mention anything about America or Christians or white people.
Like how mad, dude? This guy's got to be so fucking mad that he's trying to land like the killer, white man's blow here, and then his fucking wannabe white nationalist president is just like kind of like riffing with him in the middle of his question. This triggered the fuck out of him. Oh my god.
In general, and so I didn't know if that was one of the policies that you guys had spoken about.
We focused on affordability, we focused on the cost of living crisis. What I will say is that I am very much interested in property tax reform because what we see right now in New York City is a system that is so inequitable that it can't even stand up in court. And the president and I spoke about the importance of not only building more housing, but also making sure that regulation of housing is something that is manageable to actually get through and not the cause of yet another weight that we see in our city.
To be clear, you're continuing this idea of race-based property taxes.
No, to be very clear,
what you said.
No, the use of the term was a description of neighborhoods, not a description of intent.
So you intend to tax the whiter neighborhoods more?
No, we intend to create a fair property tax system because we want a New York City that is not only fair and equitable, but also one that every New Yorker can afford.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel protesters just targeted a synagogue in New York.
He's so fucking
Are you
mad.
concerned about Jewish New Yorkers feeling welcome and safe in the city? And President Trump, you've threatened to cut off federal funding to New York City. What policies would prompt you to do that? Would that be city-run grocery stores? Would it be something else?
Well, I think if we didn't get along, whether it's cut off or just make it a little bit difficult or not give as much, we want to see, I use the term, we don't want good money going after bad, and we don't want that to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I did say that, subject to what policies are being set. We had a meeting today that actually surprised me. He wants to see no crime. He wants to see housing being built. He wants to see rents coming down, all things that I agree with. Now, we may disagree how we get there. The rent coming down, I think one of the things I really gleaned very much today, we'd like to see him come down, ideally, by building a lot of additional housing. Yeah. That's the ultimate way. He agrees with that, and so do I. But if I read the newspapers and the stories, I don't hear that. But I heard him say it today, and I think that's a very positive step. No, I don't expect. I expect to be helping him, not hurting him. A big help, because I want New York City to be great.
A big help. Look at how fast he 180'd on this guy. Oh my god! I bet he glazed. Someone in chat was like, "I bet he said." Wait, who said this? Was this Kick or YouTube? Fuck. Somebody was like, one of you guys said like, "I bet he just went in and was like, they call you a Nazi and they call me a communist, and that's we're both better than that or whatever." Like, yeah. God, he's so. Manipulatable. Is there a word there? He's so easy to control. If you like glaze him up a little bit. I bet that sometimes even I do this. I think people sometimes analyze Trump at too high of a level. You can probably come like pretty down to a pretty bare bones fundamental level too, and that Trump probably feels really isolated right now, right? Trump is like cutting off like Marjorie Taylor Greene. They've had a lot of bad press rolling out recently. It's just been really rough. And now like this other, fellow New Yorker guys coming out, extending an olive branch, saying that like, hey, we agree on a lot of the same agenda and everything. Like, we just might disagree in some areas, but like, let's find cooperation. Like, I wonder if Trump is just like looking for a lifeline or just like some kind of like island of stability here. And Mamdani kind of offered it.
Look, I love New York City. It's where I come from. I spent a lot of years there. Now I'm right here. We took a big setback with the mayor that we had, named de Blasio. I thought it was a tremendous setback for the city. I think this mayor could do some things that are going to be really great.
Mr. President, Mr. President,
New York.
Thank you, Mr. President. You're a billionaire. You have a different address nowadays than you used to, but you used to call New York City home. Would you feel comfortable living in New York City under a Mamdani administration?
Yeah, I would. I really would. Especially after the meeting. Absolutely.
What makes you comfortable?
Jesus.
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought. I think I want him to do a great job, and we'll help him do a great job. He may have different views.
I guess I don't remember all the statements Trump made, but wasn't he saying like a few weeks ago that like fucking New York is about to be 9/11, Sharia law? Wasn't he? It's so crazy how quick. Like this guy has no opinions about anything. He's like the weakest version of a man. He's so hollow and empty. And we're watching this happen right now, okay, with Mamdani. And we might think that this is like cool and good, and he was trying to get Mamdani deported or calling for citizenship to be revoked, right? We might think that like, wow, Mamdani is a good politician, blah, blah, and he is. But keep in mind that as nice as this is right now, imagine how scary this is when Trump is talking to people like Stephen Miller, right? If he's this easily turned by people like Mamdani, then you better believe that the people that are in his ear more often have far more influence over this administration than any of us would like to think.
But in many ways, we would discuss.
Or even scarier, people like Putin, who are controlling him in terms of like foreign negotiations.
And we'll help him do a great job. He may have different views, but in many ways, we were discussing when Bernie Sanders was out of the race, I picked up a lot of his votes, and people had no idea because he was strong on not getting ripped off in trade and lots of the things that I've practiced and been very successful on. Tariffs, a lot of things. Bernie Sanders and I agreed on much more than people thought. And when he was put out of the race, I think quite unfairly, if you want to know the truth, many of the Bernie Sanders voters voted for me. And I felt very comfortable, frankly, in seeing that and saying that. And, it just turned out to be a statistical truth. But no, I feel very comfortable. I would feel very, very comfortable being in New York, and I think much more so after the meeting. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a question for you, but a very quick one for the mayor. Why did you fly here? Aren't trains greener?
I'll use every.
Who is this fucking ghoul? This fucking loser.
Quick one for the mayor. Why did you fly here? Aren't trains greener?
I'll use every form of transit, and I want to make sure that they're all affordable in New York City, and that's why making buses fast and free is a centerpiece of our campaign.
There is a bus that goes.
Well, but I know, but if he flew, that's a lot quicker too. He's
and he even cuts her off to save him. Oof.
Working very hard for him to be. That's a very long drive. I'll stick up for you. The plane takes you 30 minutes, and driving takes you a long
Mr.
time.
President, I was wondering if you could clear up some confusion around a Washington Post report. There was this explosive report that the Coast Guard is no longer going to characterize swastikas and nooses as hate symbols. DHS called that a lie and fake news. Can you clear up?
I don't know anything about it. When was this written?
The thing is, when Trump says it's probably true, he probably actually, in this case, he probably has no fucking idea. I don't know what this guy's been doing the past couple of weeks.
Yesterday?
Well, look, the Coast Guard's an incredible group of people. I know very well. We just ordered a lot of new Coast Guard cutters. Beautiful, the most magnificent ship. They look like yachts with lots of guns on them. So I don't know. I haven't seen any report like that, but certainly we want them to remain a great force, and they are.
Mr. President, and you did a piece in all the 9 months around the world. I would like to ask Mr. Mamdani, you've accused the U.S. government of committing genocide in Gaza while President Trump was working on peace. Why that?
I've spoken about the Israeli government committing genocide, and I've spoken about our government funding it. And I shared with the president in our meeting about the concern that many New Yorkers have of wanting their...
Fuck. Spoiler alert, because there's like a non-zero chance that like Trump could literally just utter out, I think he made a pretty good argument that Israel's committing genocide. There's like a non-zero chance that he would just say it.
Their tax dollars to go towards the benefit of New Yorkers and their ability to afford basic dignity. And what we see right now is We're in the 9th consecutive year of more than 100,000 school children being homeless in our city. And there's a desperate need not only for the following of human rights, but also the following through on the promises we've made New Yorkers. And I appreciated the meeting we had and the work that we can do.
Do you agree that President Trump did do a peace and he worked hard to make the peace? Because he worked hard to do the peace in the Middle East and everywhere. Do you agree with that?
I appreciate all efforts towards peace, and I shared with President Trump that when I spoke to Trump voters on Hillside Avenue, including one of whom was a pharmacist that spoke about how President Trump's father actually went to that pharmacy not too far from Jamaica Estates, that people were tired of seeing our tax dollars fund endless wars. And I also believe that we have to follow through on the international human rights, and I know that still today those are being violated, and that continues to be work that has to be done no matter where we're speaking of.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. President. Do you view the mayor-elect as the true leader of the Democrat Party? And do you think Leader Schumer's and Leader Jeffries, have to follow his lead?
Well, look, I hope they have great leaders. This is a man that right now I think is focused on New York City. I really think he has a chance to do a great job. We're going to help him, but I really think he has a chance to do a great job. But I'll let you answer that. You consider yourself the leader of the Democrats? I think it's more appropriate for him.
I consider myself the next mayor of New York City, and I keep my horizons firmly on New York City, and I appreciate the meeting with the president, which focused again on the 5 boroughs and whether New Yorkers could afford to live there.
By the way, being the mayor of New York City is a big deal.
Absolutely.
I always said, one of the things I would have loved to be someday is the mayor of New York City. Being the mayor of New York, and especially now, because I think you're at really a turning point, one way or the other. You could go great.
Who's really sad right now? Who's really sad right now? Who knows it? Oh, whose heart is breaking right now? Cuomo, Shapiro, Asmongold, Hassan. No, it's Giuliani. That Giuliani used to be Trump's best friend, his right-hand man, making phone calls and rigging shit and doing crazy stuff. And now this new New York mayor, this new New York City mayor is next to him and they're having fun and being chummy and
Or it can go in a different direction. And I think you really have a chance to make it great.
Mr. President, you said you love New York City. Mr. Mamdani, does New York City love President Trump?
New York City loves a future that is affordable. And I can tell you that there were more New Yorkers who voted for President Trump in the most recent presidential election because of that focus on cost of living. And I'm looking forward to working together to deliver on that affordability agenda.
I got a lot of votes. One more. Go ahead. 1 or 2 more. Go ahead. I tell you, the press has eaten this thing up. I've had a lot of meetings with the heads of major countries. Nobody cared.
This is he's so transparent. It's the thing I said earlier. He's getting so much heat from everybody. The happiest I've ever seen Donald Trump, I think, in the past, maybe ever, but in the past few years, it was after he did the global tariffs, and the whole world was calling his phone, was screaming at him for an interview. And he went to do that. It was some conservative fucking conference or whatever. He was so happy, and you could tell it's because he was getting so much attention. Everybody wanted to talk to him, and I think that is a big reason why he talked to Mamdani here, right? Everybody else is hating him right now. He's catching a lot of flack for the Epstein shit, and MTG and him are fighting everything else. But Mamdani, he's clouded the fuck up. It sounds like Mamdani, extended an olive branch, is glazing him up a little bit, and now he's so transparent. He's so transparent.
Eating this thing up. I've had a lot of meetings with the heads of major countries. Nobody cared. This meeting that you people have gone, outside you have hundreds of people waiting. This is just a small little group. For some reason, the press has found this to be a very interesting meeting. The biggest people in the world, they come over from countries nobody cares, but they did care about this meeting, and it was a great meeting. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. President, I was going to ask you exactly that. Why do you think there's so much more, so much excitement around this than even some foreign leaders?
Because I think he's different. All right, I think he's different, and that can be in a very positive way. But I think he's different than your typical guy. Runs, wins, becomes mayor maybe, and nothing exciting. Because he has a chance to really do something great for New York. New York is at a very critical point, and he does need the help of the federal government to really succeed, and we're going to be helping him. But he's different than your average candidate. He came out of nowhere. I said he has a great campaign manager standing over there. He came out of nowhere. When you start off at 1 or 2, and then I watched. I said, "Who is this guy?" He was at 1, then he was at 3, then he was at 5.
I said, "Who is this guy?" Well, no, I'm pretty sure you said to strip him of his citizenship and deport him, but. But
After he was at 9, then he went up to 17. I said, let's get a little bit interesting, right?
We need to revoke this guy.
And then all of a sudden he wins a primary that nobody expected he was going to win. It's a great tribute. I mean, it's an amazing thing that he did.
And I'll just add one thing to what the president said. Is one thing I also appreciated is in our meeting to appreciate a portrait of FDR. And the incredible work that was done with the New Deal, and also in thinking about what it can look like when the federal government and New York City government work together to deliver on affordability. It can be transformative.
We have a great portrait of FDR that I found in the vaults that was missing for years. I found it, and I put it up. He's a Democrat, to the best of my knowledge. He's a Democrat. And when the mayor saw that portrait, he said, "Sir, do you mind if I have a picture taken by that portrait?" It's an amazing portrait. I hope the picture comes out good. But it's an amazing portrait in the cabinet room. So he's a big fan of
He just doesn't know what the New Deal was, right? He has no idea. He's just like, oh.
New Deal, I guess. And
Oh, he said, okay, I guess. Oh, never mind. He got it. Okay, that was okay. He got it. Okay, he got there.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said that you both spoke about crime. There are many police officers set to come off the rolls at the end of this year in New York City. Are you going to allow those police to be replaced with police officers, actual cops? And are you going to require that that happens? Would there be some consequence if the
Well, I hope it
staffing?
happens, but again, that's going to be ultimately the mayor's decision.
What's your answer?
Is that I look forward to delivering public safety with the NYPD, and I've said over the course of our campaign that we have the number of police officers today. They are the ones that's budgeted about 35,000 headcount. And I think the key thing is that we have to make it easier for police to focus on police work, not ask them to respond to 200,000 mental health calls a year.
So is that a reduction?
You see how the Trump dick sucks changing the view on Zoran? Well, it doesn't really matter what MAGA thinks widely about Zoran, right? I think the people at both extremes are going to be very mad about this. I think that the average MAGA probably won't care that much. Like the Fuentes and Candazones type fans are going to be real mad about this, and it'll affirm what they know of Trump, that he wasn't the white nationalist savior they wanted him to be. Although I think people like Fuentes knew that Trump was always just a useful tool, but maybe he's outlived his usefulness. And then obviously the tankies and everybody, they're either going to be mad or say Mamdani manipulated Trump, but generally tankies don't care about political effectiveness, so my guess is they would just be more mad than anything else. I don't know.
And from what you're at right now, are you committing to maintaining the same level of cops?
Yeah, Asmongold will probably like this a lot because Mamdani speaks the populist language, and retards like Asmongold will always slop that shit up literally no matter what they say.
From what you're at right now, are you committing to maintaining the same level of cops?
I've committed over the course of the campaign to maintain the 35,000. That's the headcount that we had through the campaign.
And not replace them with caseworkers, social workers?
No, I've said that's the headcount that we want. What we need to do is make sure they can focus on serious crime.
And he just retained a great police commissioner, I believe, right?
Yes, we did. Commissioner Tisch.
If the newspapers are correct.
That one they're correct about.
He retained, I think, somebody that is she's a good friend of some of the people in my family, of Ivanka, and they say she's really good, really competent, and he just retained her, so that's a good sign.
Mr. President, are there still topics that you see the two of you disagreeing on in the future? And do you think you'll have more meetings like this?
There will be topics that we disagree on. I think we'll probably come to a conclusion, and ultimately, he'll convince me, or I'll convince him. You know, it's for the good of New York. Ultimately, it's for the good of New York. I don't care about affiliations or parties or anything else. I want to see if this city could be unbelievable. If he could be a spectacular success, I'd be very happy.
Do you think you guys will meet more in the future too?
Excuse me?
Do you think you'll meet again in the future, throughout the administration?
I think we will. I think we will. I hope we do. I enjoyed the meeting. We had a great meeting. Please.
Mr. President, Republican Elise Stefanik has campaigned multiple times by calling Zoran Mamdani a jihadist. Do you think you're standing next to a jihadist right now in the Oval Office?
No, I don't. But she's out there campaigning, and you know, you say things sometimes in a campaign.
Isn't that sort of
She's a very capable person.
Isn't
But
that a kind of
you really have to ask her about that. But no, I don't particularly. I think I met with a man who's a very rational person.
Sorry, fuck, I wasn't listening.
calling Zoran Mamdani a jihadist? Do you
Please.
Mr. President, Republican Elise Stefanik has campaigned multiple times by calling Zoran Mamdani a jihadist. Do you think you're standing next to a jihadist right now?
Republican
Elise
who?
Stefanik has campaigned.
I hope we do. I enjoyed the meeting. We had a great meeting. Please.
Mr. President, Republican Elise Stefanik has campaigned multiple times by calling Zoran Mamdani a jihadist. Do you think you're standing next to a jihadist right now in the Oval Office?
No, I don't. But she's out there campaigning, and you know, you say things sometimes in a campaign.
Isn't that sort of
She's a very capable person.
Isn't
But
that a kind of
you really have to ask her about that. But no, I don't particularly. I think I met with a man who's a very rational person. I met with a man who really wants to see New York be great again. And I can say again, because New York was great. You know, when I came down to Washington initially, the city was so hot. It was doing great. We were having some telltale signs and problems. We had a mayor that was not doing a great job, but still, it was moving along. And it went bad. It really went, pretty bad. And I think it's been at lower points, but it went pretty bad.
Does this help or hurt Trump's appeal with MAGA's base? They tend to react weirdly to race stuff. I feel like it's like a wash at the end of the day. I don't know how much they'll care now that the election is over. Like, I think that the base kind of got riled up over the New York City election stuff, but it's New York City. At the end of the day, I don't know if they'll care that much. My guess is that at the end of the day, it's just a wash, but it makes Trump feel good because he's finally getting some positive attention, you know?
I think he can bring it back. Now, the question is, will he bring it back all the way? Will he bring it back greater than...
No, they are super Islamophobe. Maybe, kind of. I don't feel like the Islamophobia shit, it felt very manufactured to me over the Mamdani stuff. I feel like I've seen a couple politicians trying to force it, but I think that the immigration stuff, the affordability stuff, Indian H-1B related stuff is way more present in Americans' minds than like fear of Islam. Like we're pretty far removed, I think, now from all the ISIS shit and everything else. I don't know if I feel like the average American cares that much about this at the moment.
I think he can bring it back. Now the question is, will he bring it back all the way? Will he bring it back greater than ever before? Which is, I guarantee, that's his wish. I think he wants to make it greater than ever before. And if he can, we'll be out there cheering. I'll be cheering for him. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
You chose not to answer the question about the city protest.
Thank you very much.
Wow, guys.
What do you think,
Guys,
Steve?
Hold on, let me just see if I have any more video I can show you real quick. Let me just see here. Hold on, I'm going to go to the other video here.
Okay.